One thing I want you to understand is the comparison principle. You may have other terms for it, but it comes down to the following. An individual is considered something at the expense of another individual or a group of individuals. There's a comparison. For example, if you have a group, then the members of the group are considered valuable because they're part of the group. And that group is only valuable because the people in it are considered separate from those outside the group. So let's say you have a nation, and let's call this nation Tartaria, just using an example now. The only reason that the Tartarians see themselves as being valuable people is because from amongst the Tartarians there are those who are excluded. So you have the upper class Tartarians and you have the working class Tartarians, and you have this imaginary middle class, this silver class, which isn't actually real, but people think it's there. Yet everyone from the working class wants to fight to get into the silver class. It's the hope of belonging to the silver class to be accepted is what keeps the Tatarian society going. Okay? Now, there are those who are victimized due to this mechanism. Those are considered the unworthy ones. And it's only because you don't belong to the unworthy ones that you are considered important in that Tartarian structure. The same you can apply to the Japanese society or to Indian society. Whatever society you take, the comparison principle is what keeps people motivated. It's the incentive for compliance. Without the comparison principle, people have almost no reason to comply with society. You may say, Rashid, but what about the roads that need to be maintained? What about the allocation of resources? Such things can happen without having a society. But if that happens without a society, the need for significance is frustrated within the human being. And when the need for significance is frustrated, people take it out on their environment. So they don't want that. So you offer them a fear construct in which they can relieve themselves from this internal frustration. And the way it happens is this. Because they're complying with the fake hope of belonging to the silver class, they now look down on everyone at the bottom of the working class and they feel at ease. So now that frustration is transferred onto those on the lower class. And the only way this relief can be sustained and maintained over time is when you keep people in the victim class. Because those at the bottom are considered the victim class. You have the right to dump everything on them, they don't matter. Okay? I hope you get it till now. Now, why am I speaking about this? It is because when there is no victim class, then how are the people going to relieve themselves from this internal frustration? They can't. So then they're not motivated anymore to comply with society. And many are not even motivated anymore to do what's right, nor to commit to their natural responsibilities towards the community. I'm not a pessimist here, absolutely not. I'm just pointing things out as they are. What keeps society going is the comparison principle. The comparison principle isn't anything real, but it's just the way society operates. It's the way worldly people think. They are something, they're important at the expense of someone else. If everyone benefits and everyone wins, then what's the use of being a winner? That's how world people think. They don't think, you know what, if everyone wins, we're all happy, praise the Lord. No. First of all, they don't even acknowledge the Lord. That's why they have this urge to relieve themselves, because they're not walking by faith, they're not operating as they should. So this frustration comes with a disobedience to Christ. Instead of facing this and submitting unto Christ, they want relief from their natural obligation to serve Christ. That's what they're looking for. And the only way they can get this relief is by systematically victimizing a small portion of the population. This brings the rest of the population in a state of anxiety, and now people get an escape from this anxiety by complying with society and so-called enjoying the benefits of it, which often are very short-lived. Well, actually, they're always short-lived. That's why a utopia never worked in the world. It's not because an utopia is impossible. The resource may be there, you may have structure there to implement it, but because worldly people cannot operate without seeking relief. The only way they can be delivered from this is when they become born again and renewed in their mind. It's then that narcissistic attitude of theirs will disappear. Unless they are born again and renewed in their mind, they develop this narcissistic attitude of seeking relief, and the only way you can have thousands or even millions of worldly people remaining at ease with one another without jumping on each other's throat is by offering them mental relief. You give them a psychic benefit. And that's what society is for. So, for example, it can be that the crime rate in what you can consider the black community in some US state dropped by 65% past 10 years. And that many blacks are now entrepreneurs and they're even traveling abroad. But you have the majority of the population who wants relief, and they're used to seeing black folks in the negative. So in the media, they keep perpetrating this image that black folks are overwhelmed with crime and all of it. There are even black sellouts who keep perpetrating this hoax. Why? Because by seeing the blacks in that state as the dregs, as the filth of society, they can feel at ease about themselves. Now they have a psychic benefit of not belonging to the blacks. The moment, however, they find out that many of those blacks are financially and economically far better off than they are, they'll escalate. And this escalation will cause violence in families, in the neighborhood. The amount of stabbings, the amount of sexual assaults, and the amount of homicides will increase because people can't handle this frustration. That's why in every society they have this victim clause that they maintain either in real life or in a fictive manner. They present them as such through the media. Why? Because worldly people are relief seekers. Some of them are reprobates already. They are hardcore relief seekers without any remorse at all, neither for themselves nor towards others. Well, I hope this video has edified you and has opened your eyes. I've mentioned this before, but I thought let me mention it again. Christ promised utopia. I know the word utopia may have a pagan origin, but you know what I mean with it. A situation in which everyone wins and everyone is happy. That's how it is in the heavens. Everyone is happy, everyone is joyful, everyone wins. And Christ said that God's will ought to be done on the earth as it is in heaven. So the Father's will is that everyone on the earth wins, as it is in the heavens. But those that are disobedient to the Father's will, which is to rely on Christ, they don't want that. They want to be relieved. They want to will with every will. They are greedy. And they are the ones that are maintaining the violence on the earth. If there is a place, let's say somewhere in Uganda, and a lot of people begin to adhere to Christ, many people align themselves with Christ over there, and the abundance manifests in the material and financial, sooner or later, those in that Ugandan community that don't want to comply with life in abundance, they'll be the ones causing riots, they'll be the ones causing a lot of trouble. But if there is fake abundance in which everyone is drained by a 9-to-5 system, then those folks are at ease because at least they're not the only ones miserable, and the only reason they're miserable is because their way of thinking doesn't add up. But they don't want to be challenged mentally. They don't want to be challenged at all. And then challenge them, they flee or they attack. And Christ's rule of life and abundance for everyone is something that threatens them. So they are the enemies of God. That's what they are. And God does not negotiate with them. When He blesses someone, He blesses someone. You can't handle it, well, you can't handle it. But you're not going to blackmail Him, the Most High, because you want relief at the expense of someone else. It's not going to happen. Well, that's it for now. Keep agreeing with Christ and be at peace.